Today we're going to learn how to do decimals to fractions, how to convert decimals to fractions. It's really simple. Most of it has to do with your labeling. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about today is label, label, label. Okay, that's a very important part of converting your decimals to fractions. So here we have 8/10, and I know that's 8/10 because if I label it, that first place value after the decimal point is 10th, and so then to convert it, I would say whatever this word says that says 10th, I would put that at the bottom, and then I would put the number here at the top. And that's really all you do. That's very simple. We can get those done. Okay, so let's go back. Let's do a bigger one. How about this? Okay, again, your first step is to label, label, label. I'm going to put my lines underneath my decimal, and then I'm going to label them. This is the 10th place, and then this is 100th. And now I ended with 100th. That's the last label that I wrote. So I'm going to put my fraction line, my fraction bar, and then I ended in 100th, so that's going to be my denominator. Okay, so the last label is your denominator, and then I'm going to take the number and put it on top. Okay, now many times you might have to reduce, and this is definitely one that we can reduce, but we'll talk about doing so in a later video. I want to make sure that you can go from decimal to fraction, and then if you needed to reduce, we could get you to that point. Okay? All right. Let's see. Let's do another one. 936,000th. Okay? Again, first you underline, then you label, label, label. On this one, I'm just going to do the numbers. Okay, the last thing I wrote is the last name. That's the last denominator. So that is 1,000. And then I'm going to write the number on top. Really simple. Okay, so this number will always be your numerator, and your labels will always be your denominator. Okay, they will always be this will always be your numerator, and this will always be your denominator. Let's try one other. Let's try a tricky one. (927/100ths). Now this looks a little bit different. So again, we're going to underline. We're going to put our decimal point. And there's two lines here, so I make two lines here. And I'm going to label. Actually, I'm taking a fraction into a decimal. So, okay, no problem. We'll show you how it goes for that way. So this will be a fraction to a decimal. Miss McQueen got a little confused there. I got excited about how easy that was for us. Okay, so there's two underlines here, and so I'm going to label my 10th and my 100th. And remember, it has to end in the last name. So I'm going to put my 7 here and my 2 here. Well, I have to write this entire number, okay? So my 9 is going to go there. Because if you look at it, 927 over 100. 900 is larger than 100. And so because of that, we have a whole number in here, okay? But 9 and 27/100ths would be equivalent to 927 over 100, okay? Yeah, that was a little bit tricky, okay? So again, when you are converting a decimal to a fraction, Or, as we could see in that last one, a fraction to a decimal, you want to make sure that the first thing that you do is label, label, label. You're going to label that decimal, and then your denominator is going to be that label, the last label that you wrote. So on here it was a tenth. All right, there's one place, and that's a tenth. On here, there's tenth and then hundredth, and so your denominator was 100. With 936 thousandth, your denominator is 1,000. And then here, Miss McQueen got a little happy and made 927 over 100, and then I underlined my zeros. I put my 2 underlines here, labeled, and then I wrote my numbers, and it's kind of like writing them backwards so you don't miss anything. So that's kind of what I did there. Okay. So when writing a decimal to a fraction, label, label, label. Decimal to a fraction, you have to label, label, label.